Hi everybody, it is time for Q&A Wednesday, and of course I've always got a great topic for you. I know I told you we weren't going to have Q&A Wednesday this week because I was supposed to be out of town, but things changed, so I'm here. Great topic tonight. I want to talk about when my clients ask me whether or not six-pack abs are something that are available to them over time. I know, that's kind of the thing, right? We all want to be lean. We all want to be, we want our abs to pop. Now, we're going to talk about the trade-offs that takes in order to get to that point, because of course, there's a couple things when it involves having six-pack or eight-pack abs. I find it fascinating that, first of all, people think that they can spot burn that area. Like, can I just do crunches? That should get rid of the fat right here, right? I'm like, yeah, it doesn't work that way. So it's really important that you know all the benefits. Hey, Sierra, you got to know all the benefits or all of the variables that contribute into getting lean enough in order to show six-pack or an eight-pack abs. Now, everybody's different, and honestly, that is part of the deal, that there's no one right way. And I'm going to tell you that from experience and from education and things I read, and because I do a ridiculous amount of research, just because I am a lifelong learner, and B, the more that I know, the more I can help my clients. Which never a downside to that, right? So, there's a lot of variables that are involved in whether or not you can have six-pack abs. Genetics play a huge role in that one. Because if you have looked at any sort of competition, physique competitions where, the bodybuilders, whatever, you can see they're all so different, right? That rectus abdominis, which is where the six-pack abs come in, is so different on everybody. Some people have really thick ones. Some people have like uneven ones. It's really interesting to see how different people are. Yeah, it's just I just find it fascinating. Now, if you're one of those like 22-year-old guys that like all you have to do is, do a little bit of cardio, you can still drink beer and get away with it, rock on, good for you. That is not going to last forever. Just wait till you turn 30. There's some major things that happen that play a role in whether or not you can have six-pack abs. So the biggest thing that I want to talk about is all the variables that are going to be involved, whether, how making it less difficult or more difficult depending on who you are. And I know, first of all, my philosophy is there is nothing out there that is worth it if it puts your health in jeopardy. One of the issues, especially for women, and I can tell you from experience, is that in order for a lot of us to be able to show abs, now let me back up really quickly and say I was the person who ever thought I was least likely to have a six-pack. Having been obese and just pretty much overweight most of my life, that was not something I ever anticipated being able to do. So, things really have changed in my life. Honestly, it's my lifestyle that gets me to where I need to be in order to be able to even have a six-pack. And I've even had seasons of competing where my six-pack shows up. I actually have an eight-pack, but sometimes not even the six-pack shows up. Let's hold on. Sierra sent something really quick. I know, Sierra, the sad thing to me is that so many people hate their bodies, and that is so devastating to me, because you know what? Our bodies work so hard for us, and I get it. Like, it's totally unfortunate that in the society today, what we are looking for is so unrealistic, because even for those of us, and Sierra would know because Sierra competes and she's amazing, we don't keep a six-pack for very long. We stay fairly lean so briefly. There's a reason we call it peaking. We do it to get on stage, and then, within a couple of weeks, our six-pack, the well-defined one, kind of disappears because we cannot maintain that sort of leanness, especially as women. So back to that, to get that lean in order to show a six-pack, one of the downsides is that it can really throw off a lot of systems in our body, including our hormones that help us stay functional and normal and healthy. And so, anytime that a woman's body fat levels get below, 10 to 12%, there are some major things that can happen that are very unhealthy. So, kind of some information for another day, but things like, we stop having a period, which means that our hormones are very, very off. There's some things like osteoporosis, some really bone density, some things that can go very, very wrong and unhealthy, especially if we spend any certain amount of time in that state of being that lean. So again, there's some definite trade-offs that we have to talk about. So let's talk about the difference between men and women. I mean, obviously, it's easier in general. Now, these are extreme generalizations. It's easier in general for men to lean out a little bit more. They tend to carry lower body fat because of the testosterone that they produce, and B, they don't retain the same amount of fat because our bodies are just different. for the least amount of it is our hormones. As women, our estrogen and progesterone, because they vary during the month according to our cycle, our bodies were designed to make and carry babies. And so our bodies want to hold on to that body fat for that purpose. Throughout our childbearing years, obviously there's some major hormonal things that go on. And then as we get older, there's some downsides of the fact that our hormones change even further because we're no longer needing to make babies. And that can be that can have some bearing on whether or not you're able to get lean. If you have hit menopause, women, or if you are have had your uterus removed, your ovaries removed, there's going to be an additional variable that you're going to have to deal with, which is the loss of the female hormones that can actually prevent you from getting lean enough in order to show that six pack. So again, that's a huge variable right there. We just as women tend to carry a little higher body fat. We're going to talk a little bit about the distribution of body fat because that does play a role too. We'll talk about that in a minute, but I do want to talk about body type, which also plays just a gigantic role. Now, most of you won't know the general terms. We talk about in the fitness industry, mesomorph, endomorph, and ectomorph, which just means, what type of a body they have, like where they distribute, how much muscle are they able to build. And ectomorph tends to run a lot higher metabolism. They tend to be super lean. We call those hard gainers sometimes because they have a hard time building muscle mass or lean muscle mass. Mesomorphs tend to be those that are a little more athletic. They build muscle a little bit easier. They were the ones in high school that didn't have to do much and they just looked amazing. I hated them because I'm an endomorph, always have been. Endomorphs tend to put on fat a little bit faster. We tend to not deal as well with carbs, and so there's some definite differences there that can really create some challenges when it comes to trying to lean out enough to show the six pack. Now, I will tell you, everybody has a six pack or an eight pack. Just a lot of people have it under a layer of body fat. So while you do have to work on building the muscles in there that create the six pack, most of us have some sort of six pack. It's just hidden. So one of the things I do want to just touch on really quick as we're going through this is please be careful what you read online. I know I say this all the time, but fascinating some of the things that I read. Wow. Just because you read it on the internet, guys, does not make it true. While doing some research for this, I actually read a statement and I wanted to jump on there and go, oh my God, are you stupid? It said something about how you can turn fat into basically your body can take fat and turn it into muscle in your abdominal area. And I went, no, that's not how it works. I just find it fascinating. So anyway, please be very careful what you're reading online. Anyway, moving on. So again, because of your body, different body types, it may be easier or more difficult to burn fat. And again, because of the type of the body type that you have, you're going to burn fat a little bit differently. Men tend to have a little more visceral fat. They tend to carry fat more in the midsection because of the way that their body because of testosterone, high levels of testosterone. Also, if you tend to have PCOS, which is polycystic ovarian syndrome, you may also tend to carry a good deal of your fat distribution in your midsection. Most women, however, because of our progesterone and estrogen levels and how they balance out and change during the month, and because we're programmed to have babies, we tend to carry it more in the hip and thigh area, which is more subcutaneous, which means it's just directly under the skin. Now, visceral fat actually is mobilized easier and differently. So again, this is getting a little more complicated and we're not going to go too far into it, but versus subcutaneous fat, which our body actually wants to hold on to because of the way our bodies were designed. So those all play a huge role. I know that when I lean out from the top down. So benefit for me, I actually can have a six pack. But again, that's taken me multiple years to do. My heaviest was 210 pounds, 45% body fat. I did carry a good amount of fat in my midsection at the time. So again, it took me a long time to get to that point. And again, there's some seasons where it pops out really great. And there's some seasons where I'm going, where is it? So again, I guess the biggest thing is the formula for you is going to be unique to you versus, there's some general things that you have to do. Obviously, nutrition plays a role, which we'll talk about. Exercise can play a role, those kind of things, sleep. But it's going to be unique to you because we're all made so differently. Age, ladies and gentlemen, age also plays such a huge role because the older that we get and the decline of our hormones, for women, when our estrogen is reduced and we start to hit menopause, because we just start to gain a little more in the midsection. So if you are in that time of your life where you are hitting menopause, or maybe you're in perimenopausal, so before menopause, and you're finding a little bit of weight gain in the midsection, that is one of the reasons, is because our hormones are declining. There are ways around that. I've done a ton of research on bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. There are ways around that. The downside is there's so much misinformation out there that most women are actually scared of hormone replacement therapy, which is so sad, because actually it can really not only help with some of those issues, but it can actually help prevent your organs and your entire body from aging. So at least chronic aging fast. So again, topic for another time, but that can play a huge role as to whether or not you are gaining around the midsection or having a hard time losing it in that area. So let's really quickly talk about the trade-offs. There's some major things that you're going to have to do if you want to get to that point. Now, sometimes I have to work with clients in a way that helps them understand the reality of what it's going to take. Most of us can't handle extreme dieting, extreme exercise. Not everybody's cut out to do a bodybuilding event. It's not easy. You can ask any of my current clients getting on stage in the next 6 to 12 weeks. The problem is exercise alone will not create what you need to. First of all, ladies and gentlemen, again, you cannot spot burn. You cannot say, well, I'm going to just do crunches and it's going to reduce this area. While you might be able to tighten it up just a little bit, and you might be able to help build the bulk in those muscles, you can't say, I'm going to burn a fat from here. It doesn't work. My jury is still out as to whether all that cool sculpting garbage works, just because I have not seen scientific evidence that it really truly works. I don't believe in shortcuts. I don't think, and it doesn't even matter. Even if it does work, if you continue to eat junk food and garbage, you're going to gain it back. So there's no benefit to that. You really have to learn the habits and create the lifestyle in order to get to that point, because just dieting for short term, yeah, you might get there at some point, but you're not going to keep it, right? What you do to get there, you have to keep doing to stay there. So, when you hear that abs are made in the kitchen, it is absolutely true. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do cardio or exercise. We'll talk about that in a second. But you can't continue to eat junk. When you eat junk and highly processed food, your body stores it as fat. And so you're just contributing to the situation. So everybody who's doing I just eat protein ice cream every once in a while. Ladies and gentlemen, it's still processed food, still has sugar. Same thing with protein bars and all these health foods that aren't really healthy. They're still processed food. Good Lord. Same thing with Nutrisystem. And, there's just, I watch all these commercials and I want to throw things at my TV because I get really frustrated with the gimmicks and the garbage. The big thing is, it works for so few people. I don't understand why we think that we can keep doing it. And then maybe the 10th time we do it, it's going to work for some miracle. If it didn't work before, it's not going to work again. So cardio alone will not give you a six-pack. So ladies, if you're doing an hour of cardio, no strength training, you haven't changed your nutrition, it will not get you where you want to go. If you're still eating garbage, if you're still eating a lot of sugar or processed food, you can't out-exercise a bad diet. You have to use these things in combination in order to get where you want to go. You're going to have to eat clean, healthy, whole foods. You're going to have to increase your protein. You're going to have to do some strength training, right? Because muscle's a natural fat burner. You've all seen the ladies that do an hour of cardio every day, but they do no strength training. They're skinny fat because, well, first of all, fat has no shape. That's why they're jiggly. But they're not doing the right exercises in the right combination, the right formula that should work for them. So, making sure that you are doing a little bit of each is going to give you a much better, faster, more consistent and overall end goal there. Also, if the trade-offs, back to the trade-offs. So you're probably not going to be able to eat junk every week or eat out every weekend with the friends and family. You can't drink alcohol and expect to get lean enough to show abs. Now, again, maybe a 22-year-old kid who's got extremely awesome genes can get away with that. Genetics, not genes. But if you're drinking, alcohol will not make you fat, but it will prevent you from burning fat. So you will not get where you want to go by drinking alcohol. I have had clients who do so great during the week and then ruin everything by drinking during the weekend. And of course, I know they tell me it's like one drink, and I'm like, okay, how much is one drink? A pitcher of beer, ladies and gentlemen, is not one drink. So again, a drink once in a while isn't probably going to keep you from getting there, but if you continuously drink on a regular basis, if you like to drink a glass of wine every night with dinner, you're probably not going to be able to get six-pack abs. And again, the older you are, and ladies, that's going to combine that and make it even more difficult to get where you want to go. Just making sure I talk about everything. For those of us that have started out at a fairly large size, considering I was obese at one point, one of the issues that you might have is having to get rid of excess skin. Your skin can only bounce back so far. Granted, one of the benefits of losing body fat slowly, I don't like the term losing weight because that doesn't delineate where it comes from. We want to lose body fat. That's what's important. But if we do it quickly, you've seen all those contestants from The Biggest Loser way back when, and a lot of them, maybe they were able to shrink and drop 150, 200 pounds, but then they had all this skin hanging from their body. So that can also play a factor in there. My goal is to help my clients create habits that over time change their life into a healthy lifestyle where not only can they eventually reach their goal, but maintain that. Because when you try to do it super quickly, there's so many things that are going to go wrong with that. And most of us have at some point done some sort of yo-yo diet, and we know that over time that does not work. Other trade-offs. I think really the biggest issue is you're going to come to a time in your health goals where you're going to be happy with your progress, at least hopefully most of us are, but there's going to come to a time that you're going to be told, okay, but to get any further, you're going to have to make further sacrifices, and you're going to have to decide whether that's worth it. Maybe you've done great up until now, but you're still drinking every weekend. And to get that six-pack, you're going to have to stop drinking. So only you can make that determination. Enjoying life and being content and happy with the way things are is part of health. So as any physique competition contestant can tell you, we can do anything for 16 weeks. We can get on stage. But if we had to keep doing that year round, not only is your body going to fight you tooth and nail, but you're not going to enjoy life. You give up a lot to get to that point in life. So let's talk about cardio, yes or no? Yes, at some point, some cardio is going to be necessary. I like to use cardio as a tool, and there's a big difference between types of cardio as well. There's so much interesting research. I'm reading a bunch right now on how fasted cardio affects men and women differently. Anything I can read to get some efficiency. I'm pretty excited about that. So again, I think it's important, but I think if you only do cardio and you don't approach your nutrition and you're not doing any strength training, you will not be able to get to the point where you want a six-pack. Strength training alone not only is going to build your muscle, which gives you definition and tone, ladies, but it's going to help burn that body fat because it raises your metabolism around the clock. Unlike cardio where you just again, there's some more factors in there, but when you do cardio, your metabolism goes up, you burn more calories, and then they tend to come back down unless you have some sort of afterburn effect, which, again, topic for another day, but all of those are important. So strength training, make sure that you are, make sure you're doing it correctly. You do want to do a little bit of cardio. There's a little bit of difference between steady state and HIIT cardio. Both are beneficial to differing degrees. HIIT on a daily basis probably isn't your best bet. Steady state does mobilize body fat, but HIIT also has muscle sparing option. Anyway, there's more to it. So a combination of those are really great as well. But again, you can't just do cardio. You've got to involve nutrition and strength training as well. So again, please remember that your goal is to do this in a way that's healthy and sustainable, so that you can not only get there, but like it's about health. You got to feel good. You got to feel healthy, and that's a big part of it. So a couple tips. There's other things that can play a role in there. Make sure that your stress level is dealt with, because of course if your stress levels are too high, cortisol does prevent your body from being able to mobilize and burn fat. So because most of us are so low level stress all the time, that can actually have a huge effect as to whether or not you're able to burn fat and lean out. Lack of sleep. Whew. I know I've done multiple lives on this, guys, but sleep is huge. If you're getting less than 6.5, 7 hours of sleep and you're struggling to actually burn body fat, there's a reason for that. Your body is not getting the time that it needs to rest, recover, build muscle, and reset at night. There's some other things that go on while you sleep. And so if you're not hitting that, you're probably going to lack results. So all of those things put together are going to give you your best bet. You're really, if you just take a few weeks and track what your life is like, it's also hugely beneficial to see a professional that has had enough education and enough experience that they can help guide you in that situation. Because I think the more dialed in that you have to be, even I like to get outside help. If I'm going to get on stage, I want a coach that's helping outside in. They're looking in to what's going on. Sometimes we're a little too easy on ourselves, but if we have someone to have the accountability to, it makes it a whole lot easier to dial it in and make sure that we know where we're going. And they're not looking at us or working with us necessarily like our husbands or our significant others. They want to love us, but they're emotionally tied to us. We need something without that emotional tie in order to kind of help us see where we're going, and give us that path, that I can't even think what it's called. It's just been one of those days. So hopefully that makes some sense. Is it possible for everyone to have a six-pack? Again, I think there's too many variables in that to say. I think it is beneficial to work towards that, but also, again, keep your health as your priority. That is the most important part of it. So if you're at a point where you are extremely overweight, that's the most important part. Let's work to get you in a position where you feel better, you have more energy, you don't hurt. If I got to the point where I was sick and tired of being sick and tired, and what changed my life was changing my goal from losing weight to now I just want to get strong. And that became a completely different ball game. Learning to strength train. Yeah, I can't even say it. Completely changed my life. And then learning more and more about nutrition. I am not the same person I was 10 years ago. I find it fascinating. So anyway, hopefully that helps. If you have questions, please ask. You can message me directly at the Facebook Messenger, or you can leave a comment below. I appreciate you all for jumping on today. Hopefully I know I'm a little scattered. I just get so excited. I want to talk about everything. There will not be Meals with Melissa this Saturday at 10 a.m. because we will be in Spokane, Washington at the NPC Empire Classic. We have 2 bikini girls there. You are welcome to come. It's going to be awesome. It's the Convention Center in Spokane, Washington. Bikini starts at 4 p.m., both prejudging, and then it rolls right into finals that night. Please come and cheer us on. It's a lot of fun. We love to go and we love to see you there. So have an incredible night, you guys. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.